Mitigation, so for instance, if you work on changing the way you are traveling to a cultural event or how your audience is going to come to your event, how you're going to feed your artist, if you are using renewable energy, etc. This is actions working on mitigation. If you start looking at, for instance, building flood barriers in your city, because you know your city is going to be affected by the rising of sea levels. If you are looking at more resilient agricultural species, this is working on adaptation. For the cultural sector, this can be lowering the temperature in the theater where you are going to host your audience. It can be changing the time of your shows because if you do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's too hot. So this is a risk for your audience, but it's also a risk for your team. How can your technicians, for instance, work properly during when it's 45 degrees in the afternoon? So maybe you can change the time, or you can even change the season and stop having events during the summer, but having them more in spring or in autumn when the temperatures are not so high. These are examples of adaptation. But when it becomes interesting is when it is in this middle part, and where it's going to have effect on both. So, for instance, if you increase green areas, trees, plants in urban context, it's going to have effects on mitigation, because this is going to help capture carbon. For instance, it's going to help to have more wildlife. In terms of biodiversity, you will have more birds, more insects, etc. But it's also good in terms of adaptation, because it's going to have effects on the warmth of the city, for instance. So when you have more shadow, it's going to be less hot. It's going to help to have better air in the city. So you see, this is something that is going to work on both mitigation and adaptation. It's the same with awareness raising. Whatever you might do in terms of training and awareness raising, this is going to have effects both on mitigation, because you will empower people to take actions in terms of mitigation, to understand better what are the consequences, and to work on adaptation. Same in terms of energy or water saving. It's going to help to have less energy spending, not spending so much carbon emissions or fossil fuel if, for instance, your energy comes from carbon or from fuel. But it's also have good consequences in terms of adaptation, because it's not going to use some resources that might be needed for other things. Or in terms of water, you might need the water not just to cool down your building, but also for watering agriculture, or just to have some drinking water, for instance.